the secret of becoming mentally strong. What if I told you that the most decisive factor shaping your future is not luck, not talent, and not even the number of opportunities you encounter, but the way you think? It's an unsettling idea because it strips away the comfort of blaming the economy, your upbringing, or unfair circumstances. It puts the steering wheel squarely in your hands. You may not control the road, the weather, or the traffic, but you control the way you drive. The Stoics knew this centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who could have blamed the world for constant wars, betrayals, and personal losses, instead chose to treat every thought as a tool. Not every thought deserved to stay. Some thoughts were weeds, pulled out before they could choke the garden. Today, we're going to explore what it really means to be mentally strong. Not the Instagram version, not the grind harder cliche, but the kind of strength that allows you to stand calm in a storm, make clear decisions under pressure, and turn obstacles into the very path you walk. Stay with me to the end, because the second half of this journey will take you somewhere most people never reach, the point where external chaos becomes irrelevant. 1. Your mind. The invisible sculptor. Every day, whether you're aware of it or not, your mind is shaping you. Your beliefs, repeated thoughts, and internal narratives are like a sculptor's hands, constantly chipping away at the marble of your life. I've seen it happen in my own life. Two people can face the exact same situation, say, losing a client or getting passed over for a promotion. One sees it as proof they're not good enough. The other sees it as a signal to learn, adapt, and try again. The event is identical. The interpretation changes the outcome. Modern psychology confirms the Stoic view. It's not the event, but our perception of the event that defines our experience. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, one of today's most effective forms of psychotherapy, is built on this principle. Change your interpretation, and you change your emotional reality. But here's the part most people miss. Changing your mind isn't just about positive thinking. It's not about telling yourself everything is fine when it's not. It's about deliberately training your thoughts to align with reality and your values, not your fears. 2. Guarding the gates of the inner citadel. The Stoics often spoke of the inner citadel, your mental fortress. Inside it, you are sovereign. Outside, storms rage, markets crash, people betray, and life throws curveballs. But inside, nothing enters without your permission. Let's be honest, most of us keep the gates wide open. A random comment online ruins our mood. A coworker's bad attitude infects our focus. A news headline sends us into panic. It's like letting every stranger walk into your home and rearrange the furniture. Guarding the citadel means practicing selective entry. When a thought arrives, you're not capable, this is hopeless, everyone is against you. You don't automatically let it in. You stop it at the gate and interrogate it. Is this thought true? Is it helpful? Does it align with my values? If not, it doesn't get in. That's mental discipline, not a wall against reality, but a filter against distortion. 3. The alchemy of obstacles. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." On the surface, it sounds noble but unrealistic. How can an obstacle possibly be the way forward? Here's how. An obstacle forces you to adapt, and adaptation is growth. When I lost a project that accounted for 40% of my income, I panicked. But that loss forced me to diversify my income streams. 6 months later, my income was more stable than ever. The obstacle had forced me to become stronger than I would have if I had stayed comfortable. Obstacles aren't side paths, they are the path. And the faster you stop resenting them, the sooner you can start using them. Try this. The next time something blocks your way, ask, what skill, insight, or strength is this situation asking me to develop? How can I leave this situation better than I entered it? The obstacle becomes a teacher, and the pain becomes tuition for a stronger version of you. 4. The real meaning of self-discipline. We often think of self-discipline as saying no to junk food, to procrastination, to distractions. But Stoic discipline is as much about saying yes. Yes to values, yes to actions that align with your purpose, yes to the harder but better choice. Imagine your life as a series of small crossroads. At each one, you choose the easy wrong or the hard right. The easy wrong feels good in the moment. The hard right feels uncomfortable, but it compounds into a life you're proud of. When Seneca said, "No man is free who is not a master of himself," he wasn't talking about chains and prisons. He meant the invisible prison of being ruled by impulse. Discipline is the daily vote you cast for the kind of person you want to become. Every early workout, every thoughtful conversation instead of mindless scrolling, every project finished on time, these are deposits into your future. 5. Vision beyond circumstance. Many people set goals based on their current reality, but a Stoic vision ignores current limits and asks, what's the best life I can live regardless of where I'm starting? This doesn't mean fantasizing about impossible scenarios. It means identifying what's deeply important to you: virtues, relationships, contributions, and charting a course toward them. In my own life, I've found that vision acts like a North Star. It doesn't remove the storms, but it keeps you from getting lost. When you know the direction you're heading, temporary detours don't feel like dead ends. And yes, sometimes pursuing your vision will mean standing alone. Marcus Aurelius often had to make unpopular decisions because they aligned with his principles. You might lose friends or approval along the way. That's why the Stoics place such high value on inner approval over external applause. 6. Resilience. Growing stronger, not just bouncing back. Resilience is not pretending the fall didn't hurt. It's using the fall to build stronger legs. Think about weightlifting. Muscles grow not when you lift, but when they recover from being stressed. Emotional and mental resilience work the same way. You stress the system by facing a challenge. You grow by integrating the lesson. Here's how I practice this. Pause before reaction. I give myself space to respond rather than react impulsively. Break down the problem. I tackle one small, solvable piece at a time. Revisit past wins. I remind myself I've been here before and survived. Over time, this process turns challenges into training sessions for mental strength. Number 7, thoughts as the source code of life. Your thoughts are not just commentary. They are the source code that programs your reality. If the code is corrupted with fear, resentment, and self-doubt, the program of your life will glitch. If the code is written with courage, curiosity, and gratitude, the program will run differently, even if the external conditions don't change. One of the most powerful Stoic practices is to challenge distorted thinking before it writes your reality. If you can identify the faulty code early, you can rewrite it before it infects everything else. 8. The quiet power of gratitude. Gratitude is not a cliche, it's a recalibration of focus. When life narrows your vision to only what's wrong, gratitude forces you to widen the lens. During one of the most difficult seasons of my life, I kept a simple gratitude list. At first, it felt silly. What does good coffee matter when you're dealing with loss? But over time. 9. The decision point, where strength is forged out. Every challenge has a decision point, that moment between stimulus and response. It's usually just a few seconds long, but it's where your mental strength is tested. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." The Stoics understood this intimately. They trained themselves to pause in that space, to let reason step in before emotion took over. That pause is not passivity, it's strategy. Practical tip: when faced with a trigger, whether it's an insult, bad news, or unexpected setback, mentally label what's happening. This is a challenge. This is fear. This is frustration. Labeling the feeling creates distance. Distance gives you room to choose, and choice is where strength is born. 10. Practicing premeditatio malorum, the antidote to shock. One of the most misunderstood Stoic practices is premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. On the surface, it sounds pessimistic. Why think about bad things that might happen? The answer: because foreseen blows hurt less than unexpected ones. When you mentally rehearse potential difficulties, loss, failure, betrayal, you prepare yourself emotionally. It's not dwelling on negativity, it's building shock absorbers. For example, before starting a new business, imagine a key partner leaving, a major client canceling, a recession hitting. Ask yourself, if this happened, what would I do? You won't have every answer, but you'll be less likely to collapse if it happens. In my own life, before big presentations, I anticipate worst-case scenarios: forgetting a line, tech failure, a skeptical audience. I mentally prepare recovery strategies. That way, if any of it happens, I act instead of panic. 11. Amor fati. Loving the path you didn't plan. Nietzsche borrowed this from the Stoics, amor fati, love of fate. It's more radical than acceptance. Acceptance says, I'll endure this. Love says, I will embrace this as mine. When a door closes, most of us either try to force it open or stand there staring at it. Amor fati says, turn around, your path is now this way. This mindset shifts you from resistance to participation. Life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. Even the unplanned chapters are part of your book. Example, you train for months for a marathon, but an injury stops you. Amor fati turns the injury into a season for learning patience, exploring other forms of fitness, maybe even mentoring other runners. The event isn't good or bad, it's just part of the weave of your story. 12. The circle of control, where to spend your energy. Epictetus broke life into two categories: things within your control, the things outside your control. We waste enormous energy on category 2, other people's opinions, politics, market swings, traffic, the weather. Every minute spent there is a minute stolen from category 1, your thoughts, actions, and decisions. Exercise. Take a current stressor and make 2 lists. Within my control, my preparation, my attitude, the effort I put in. Beyond my control, timing, others' reactions, luck. Then commit to acting only on the first list. This is not passivity, it's strategic focus. And over time, it trains your mind to stop bleeding energy on the uncontrollable. 13. The discipline of daily reflection. Marcus Aurelius journaled daily, not for an audience, but to refine his mind. Reflection is where we sharpen the blade of wisdom. In my own practice, I ask 3 nightly questions. What went well today? This builds gratitude and reinforces good habits. What could I have handled better? This builds humility and growth. What will I focus on tomorrow? This builds intention. You can do this in 5 minutes. Over months, you'll notice patterns, recurring triggers, strengths you rely on, values that guide you. Reflection turns living into learning. 14. Negative visualization, deepening appreciation. This is related to gratitude but works differently. Negative visualization is imagining the loss of something you currently have, not to make yourself sad, but to deepen appreciation. When you picture your life without your closest friend, your health, or your freedom, you realize how precious they are now. The Stoics use this to prevent taking life for granted. It sounds morbid, but it's actually invigorating. After imagining losing my ability to walk, my next run felt like a gift. After picturing life without my morning coffee ritual, that first sip became a small celebration. The role of community in mental strength. We picture Stoics as lone figures in togas, contemplating life in isolation. But Stoicism was deeply communal. Seneca had friends he mentored and learned from. Marcus Aurelius had trusted generals and advisors. Epictetus taught a community of students. Why? Because mental strength is forged in relationships. Others can reflect your blind spots, challenge your excuses, and remind you of your principles when you forget. Practical takeaway: surround yourself with people who value growth, integrity, and calm under pressure. Limit exposure to those who thrive on drama and complaint. You don't have to cut everyone out, but you do have to guard your mental environment as fiercely as your physical one. 16. Training under small weights. Before the heavy ones arrive, you don't run a marathon without first running a mile. Mental strength works the same way. You build it under small challenges, so it's there for the big ones. Practice patience in small irritations. A slow cashier, a long queue. Practice courage in low-stakes settings, speaking up in a meeting, giving constructive feedback. Practice letting go by deliberately releasing minor control. Letting someone else choose the restaurant. These small weights build the mental muscle so that when genuine crises hit, you already have the form and stamina. 17. Emotional sobriety. Not being ruled by highs or lows. True mental strength isn't about never feeling bad. It's about not letting your emotional state dictate your behavior. It's emotional sobriety. The Stoics aimed for euthymia, a steady, grounded mind, not tossed around by every wave. This doesn't mean blandness, it means savoring the highs without being reckless and enduring the lows without despair. In practice, when something wonderful happens, enjoy it fully, but remember it's temporary. When something painful happens, feel it honestly, but remember it will pass. This balanced perspective makes you harder to shake. 18. Turning principles into habits. Knowledge is useless without practice. Knowing Stoic ideas doesn't make you strong. Living them daily does. Pick one Stoic principle and weave it into your routine. Control your controllables. Each morning, list 3 things you can influence today. Guard the citadel. When a negative thought arrives, challenge it before accepting it. Obstacle becomes the way. When blocked, write down 2 ways the situation could benefit you. Habits turn ideals into reflexes. Over time, you won't have to remember Stoicism. You'll simply live it. 19. Why mental strength is a lifelong practice. Here's the hard truth: you never arrive. Mental strength is not a finish line, it's a craft. You don't lift weights once and call yourself strong forever. You keep training. Life will keep testing you in new ways. The stakes will change, the challenges will evolve. But if you practice the Stoic disciplines, guarding thoughts, embracing obstacles, focusing on control, reflecting daily, you'll find that your capacity grows with each season. The goal is not to become invulnerable. The goal is to become unshakable in purpose, able to bend without breaking. 20. Your inner citadel awaits. Right now, you have everything you need to begin. The tools are ancient, but the application is urgent.